Good morning. It is Friday, July 19th, 2024. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is another special report. 7 days that changed America. Well, last night, if you're like millions of others, you were up watching Donald J. Trump accepting the nomination of the Republican Party to be the presidential candidate this coming November. Not a surprise. But as I was saying, you're going to see a different Trump from here on in, and he introduced himself last night. He talked about his brush with death, and he also presented the way he wants to move forward. You didn't see the bellicose, driving, insulting, and somewhat bullying tactics you'd seen in the past. He only mentioned Joe Biden's name once. Didn't want to mention it. Why? Well, we already know the score, and at the same time, it wasn't really relevant to the message he wanted to deliver. He's still a very strong man, but he is more amicable than he was a week ago. Now, what does this mean? Well, whoever's going to be running against him on the Democratic ticket will definitely be someone who is politically already washed up and does not have a future. That's a given. The other thing is that in the last 7 days, an unknown but almost certainly a number that measures in the millions of Americans have woken up to what's really been going on all these years. For the last 60 years or more, radicalism of the leftist kind has been creeping through our society like a slow-growing cancer. Universities, government, of course. The media. Oh, the media. Trump is not elected yet. And it's very important to not rest on your laurels. The election is still his to lose. There could be a lot of shenanigans this year at the polling places. And as I said yesterday, I really don't think the deep state has given up trying to get rid of him. So it's still going to be a rocky summer and an even rockier autumn. Hopefully, the good guys will win. The good guys being the people that want to see the United States a peaceful, prosperous nation. The people who are the bad guys are the globalists, the ones that believe that you will own nothing and you will be happy. Just like the frog that is made to die by being put in a pot of water and having the heat slowly turned up. It's the perfect analogy because it's what's been going on for so many years now. Trump was very conciliatory yesterday, very positive, very upbeat, and very penitive. He was very, very thoughtful. You could just see it in his eyes. And at the end of his speech, when he stood up on the stage, he had all of his grandchildren with him, or at least most of them. This is a man who is a man. He has a family. He has values. He's made mistakes. He's not perfect. But what's really different this morning is he knows that, and most people are accepting that. Now, in spite of all that, you would have expected the Democratic side of the field to be a little more toned down today because they were the ones screaming about toning things down. And you know what we got this morning? When I woke up, the first thing I looking at the news was something on the once credible Drudge Report, which has now become just a left-wing propaganda page. And there was this story, which is still up there, about how the firefighter who was killed on Saturday, the one who took a bullet protecting his family, Corey Comparatore, I believe you pronounce his last name. Anyways, there was this much to do about the fact that his name was not spelled properly on his fire jacket. Now, if you saw the speech last night, Donald Trump put his fire jacket and helmet up on stage as a way of honoring the man's memory, whose funeral is today, actually, Friday. And it was played up supposedly by a Washington-based political website, which by the time I got onto it, it had evidently been taken down, that it was being alluded to that somehow Trump's people got the name wrong on his uniform. Well, no, that was his, not uniform, that was his fire jacket. You know, the ones that firemen wear when they run into burning buildings to save people's lives and save property and put their own life at risk. Well, something tells me, I don't have any information on prices, that equipment's pretty expensive. And a little bit of research indicated that his name has always been misspelled on that particular jacket. For reasons, one of the reasons that was given by someone who apparently knew is that his name was too long for the size that they use. So he had to chop off a letter. I myself have had to do that on occasion. If my name is too long, I'll drop off the L at the end or something like that, or drop off a vowel. But this just shows, one, somebody immediately assumed that Trump's people were doing something undignified or dishonorable, and they didn't check their facts. Right off the bat, you would think that people would be a little more careful and a little more respectful, but no. One thing that was refreshing is a lot of people picked up on this, and I did see people up on X, formerly known as Twitter, this morning, who were talking about the real evil in this country is the media, the news media. I have to agree, but the media, the news media, and media is a plural word for medium, you have to look to see who owns it, who controls it, who uses it, who funds it, who is funded by it. It's a dog, really. It's a animal. It's a weapon. If something bad happens involving a murder, you don't prosecute the firearm or blame the firearm. You blame the person who used the firearm. And that's what the media is. It's used by the deep state, the liberal, left-wing, Marxist political establishment. It's used by all the bad guys right now. There's alternative media, news media, which I consider myself a member of. I used to be part of the mainstream back when it was a far more credible institution. When I saw this morning, I thought to myself, they're not going to give up. They're not going to stop. They didn't do rudimentary research. They immediately operated on the assumption that Trump's people had something to do with it and they're evil. I mean, you can't negotiate with people who are out to destroy you, really. And that's what the left wing in this country is out to do. So take heart in the fact that the United States has changed in the last 7 days for the better. Things have gotten better, even though it might not feel that way for a while. But there's a new air this morning among the common man and woman in this country. There's a new feeling of, yeah, maybe we can get through this. And there are quite a few people on the left-wing side of the playing field who are beginning to think that maybe they have been hoodwinked. And it's been going on for a long, long time. Anyway, the summer will continue. The campaign will continue. And the next interesting thing to see will be the Democratic National Convention. And let's see what happens to Mr. Biden over the weekend. There has been a lot of speculation, a lot of reporting, people quoting sources, unquote, that he will be stepping down as a candidate, but he will not be leaving office. I think it's a foregone conclusion he's not going to be running for president anymore, but whether or not he stays in office is going to be interesting. The Democrats made a horrible miscalculation with him. It was obvious in 2020 he was too old and not too bright. He's never been too bright, but that's another matter entirely. You don't know where it's going to go. It's going to be interesting, as we say. Interesting in the traditional Chinese term, may you live in interesting times. Anyways, this morning, I would ask everyone to take a deep breath and give thanks that not only was Donald Trump, but all of us dodged a bullet. That's it for today. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. Please consider a paid subscription or a donation. It helps keeps the lights on and the computer running. If you want to give me any feedback, I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm also up on X, formerly known as Twitter. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. I'm also up on Telegram and a few other social media outlets. That's it for today. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and good day.